Welcome to Middle Age Can Be Your Best Age, the show designed to help make middle age your prime time of life by defying the notion that once you reach 40, 50, or even 60 years old, your crowning achievements are all behind you. Regardless of whether you're just approaching 40 or firmly entrenched in your middle years, it's time to launch your very own personal journey toward a joyful and purpose-filled second half of life. Each week, host Roy Richards, an expert on midlife renewal and author of A Midlife Challenge, Wake Up, will discuss the challenges common to middle age and help guide you to a brighter tomorrow. Now, here's Roy.
Hello, and welcome to this summertime episode of Middle Age Can Be Your Best Age. And I'd like to begin this week's program with a highly personal question, and no one needs to see your answer. Have you ever been fat shamed? Most of us in our 40s and 50s don't have the sleek, young, athletic bodies that we did in our 20s. Okay, some of us never had these ideal, in-shape bodies, but here's the reality. In our middle years with career and family responsibilities, everything we've got to do, who has time and energy for losing weight and keeping it off? And although it is thoughtless and rude to criticize another for his or her weight or appearance, it happens almost every day to men and women like you and me, even to noted celebrities such as Selena Gomez, Kelly Clarkson, and Amy Schumer. And my first guest today, acclaimed motivational speaker and corporate trainer Nicole Black, was fat-shamed, not just by others, but also by herself for over 30 years, and she battled for years to take weight off, only to gain it back, plus more, and she reached a peak when she packed an extra 100 pounds on her 5-foot 1-inch frame, but remarkably, she has trimmed down to 118 pounds, and perhaps most remarkable of all, she was able to lop off all that extra weight while she operated a successful French bakery. And to lose weight while you're operating a bakery is really remarkable. And she's here today to share with you and me how we, like she did, can win our battles with excess weight, and more importantly, how we can overcome our inner insecurities and achieve genuine self-love. And here's Nicole Black's bio. She's founder of the 10 Series, a company designed to help other business owners to get on the right track for success. She's a motivational speaker who seeks to inspire others that leading with kindness is the best way to build a successful and sustainable business. And she's author of the highly acclaimed 2018 book, Fat Shamed, Ditch the Shame, Get Confident, and Claim the Life You Deserve. And she's here today to share with you and me how to overcome our battles with weight, whether we're 10 pounds overweight or 100. And hello, Nicole Black. Welcome to Middle Age Can Be Your Best Age.
Hi, Roy. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be a guest on your show.
Well, let's begin by talking about your own years of yo-yo dieting frustration, from obese to thin, from thin to obese. Why was it, like so many folks, you were able to lose the excess weight but were unable to keep it off?
I think that, so what would happen is, and it's interesting because I didn't figure it out until later on, but, I would get thin, and then all of a sudden I would start to get attention from people, and that would trigger me into, oh, no, I don't want to be seen. I want to be invisible again, and then I would gain weight again. And then I get back to the heavy part. It's so funny because it took me 40 some odd years to learn this. And now that I know it, I almost kind of laugh at myself when I'm like, because, even still, like, I'll gain 5 pounds. It's very easy to do, especially, like after 40. It's very easy to gain weight.
Yeah. Why in the world would you not want to be seen by people when you were thin and attractive?
I think that a lot of that stemmed from trauma as a teenager. I was assaulted as a teenager, and it really changed the way that I saw myself and the way that I thought others saw me, which, of course,
amazing. When you were only 12 years old, your grandmother said something to you that you say, wounded you as deeply as a sharp knife. What did your grandmother tell you?
She looked at me and she said, "You're fat." And the funny thing is, Roy, I was thinner then than I am now. I was not fat. I just wasn't a stick figure.
What in hindsight caused her to do that? There must be some problem with herself that she was striking out like that. I don't know why anyone would be so cruel, especially to a preteen.
You know, I think that some people talk about how families like carry traumas on with them. And my aunt, her daughter, my mom has since passed away, but my aunt told me very recently, she said, Nana was nicer to you than anybody. And I thought, oh, are you kidding me? That's nice.
I'd hate to be
so
one
I think
didn't like.
Exactly. She just had a chip on her shoulder. I think that her life wasn't what she wanted it to be. And, and I think it's very easy for people to lash out at other people. I mean, think about it, like even when you're in your car on the road, right, and somebody cuts you off,
I'm mad at the car. I don't even know the individual that's in the car. I just think, there goes that Chevrolet that cut me off or whatever.
I just think, okay, you can have the road. I don't care anymore. But now I drive like a grandparent. So
don't we all? In your book, you reveal it as a last resort. You eventually opted for bariatric surgery to overcome your obesity, but that the real work began after the surgery. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's funny because I've heard a lot of times, gastric sleeve surgery or any surgery, you're taking the easy way out. And you're actually not, because it changes your physical body so much that, you can no longer overeat. So it's a tool. But you can also, the stomach's a muscle. You can stretch it back out again. So if you're not focused and paying attention to, like something, my old trigger was, I used to call myself a midnight snacker because I, sitting on the couch at night, there's my refrigerator, and so now, like, if I ever, like, stand up and it's 10 o'clock at night and I think, whoa, it's still like one of those things where you have to say to yourself, am I hungry or am I needing comfort from something else?
Yeah,
and usually it's the latter.
Yeah. Well, you were able once and for all to overcome your weight problem when you accomplished self-love. I know that's what your book, Fat Shame, is all about. Can you give us a hint or two on how to get started on the journey to love ourselves, whatever our current weight may be? What steps can we take to break a constant pattern of feeling like a victim and blaming ourselves?
Well, Roy, it's interesting. The first step is really to forgive yourself.
Yeah. And,
it's like so much easier said than done, but to really look in the mirror and say, oh my gosh, you are the most important person in my life, right? Yourself, because you're the only person you are guaranteed to get to the end of this life with.
Yeah,
and so
true.
Once, but it doesn't really hit you until it does, right? And then you think, oh, I guess I need to start being a little bit nicer to Nicole. And then I am not a huge exercise fanatic. I'm not a huge fan of exercising, but I found something called yin yoga, and it's spelled Y-I-N. And what I liked about it was that you hold the poses for 3 to 5 minutes, which actually allows your brain to rest and to relax into something. So you can feel in your body where you're holding your tension, and then you can start to be a little bit kinder to yourself and start to let it go.
Oh, I see. That sounds
So self-forgiveness and yin yoga, those are my 2 first steps that everybody needs to take, before surgery.
Yeah.
Surgery is definitely last resort.
Yeah, hopefully most people can get there without the surgery. But you talk about 7 steps that you and I can take after a surprise fat shaming. Can you go through those 7 steps? Because I think we all get shamed in some way, maybe not fat shamed, but in some way we're offended. What are some steps we can take to get over that?
Well, the first thing that you really have to do is forgive yourself, forgive the other person, recognize that it's them and their trauma. Let's see. I think that I'm trying to find my list of what the 7 things were. Here we go. So meditation or slow, deep breathing, right?
Yeah.
That's the first one.
Yeah.
Do not react. It is so hard to sit there when someone is mean to you and not say anything, but you literally have to be the chair, you're an inanimate object. The third thing is, again, it's them. That's their issue and their pain, and it's not for you. Like, we can't fix anyone else. We can only fix ourselves.
That's very true.
Write it down, or speak it into your phone. So not everybody writes down. So not everybody writes. So, like, if you can speak it into your phone or type it into your computer, somehow you've got to release it. And then ask yourself these questions as, you're writing down what happened. It's, number 1, is what the person said true? And if it is, like, who cares? If you're fat, chances are you already know you're fat, right?
Yeah, that's true. They're
right?
not telling you
2
anything you don't know already.
Right. Is what the person said helpful? Well, probably not, because who cares what you weigh, right?
Yeah.
3 is the comment in line with who I am as a person. So you really have to kind of say to yourself, why do I care what that person thinks of me? Last time I checked, they're not paying my bills. And even if they are, I still don't care what they think of me. And 4 is, does this person's opinion truly affect my life? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks of you. It's really, like, that goes back to the 4 agreements. What other people think of you is none of your business. They're going to have an opinion. Who cares, right? The 6th thing is to have a talk with yourself, right? And just to be really honest with yourself. It's really hard to do because there are people that are heavy who are very happy being heavy. And you know what? Leave them alone, And the 7th thing is, who was I? Asking yourself, who was I before the comment landed? That's what you want to return to. You want to get back to your own sense of self-love, right? It's like, I am my own person, and nobody else, has the right to step on me.
No, that's for sure.
And,
like you say, what real positive benefit does a mean comment like that have for you? I mean, it doesn't help the other person. It certainly doesn't help you, because I'm sure you knew you were fat if you were fat. So it's really not a darn thing.
Oh, wow, you have good eyesight, like, I mean, I guess my answer would be, so what? If somebody ever said that to me, so what? Like, is that bothering you? Like, and if it is, then you walk away.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's talk a bit about your highly informative book, Fat Shame. You tell us that Fat Shame is not a diet book, and it's not about exercise and nutrition. And you tell us the book has something more important to share. And what is it that you're sharing in there?
It's really about positive self-body image.
Oh.
And I think that it's so important that it's really more about acceptance, right? We have to accept who we are. No one else is ever going to accept you or love you until you accept yourself and love yourself.
And you're not going to be really capable of loving someone else until you love and accept yourself also. It kind of works that way.
Absolutely.
Well, does the book contain suggested exercises, and I don't mean physical exercises, but mental exercises and activities that can help readers change their way of thinking?
Absolutely. A lot of it is breathing. There's some guided meditations in my book that what I really, usually the sound of your own voice can be rather soothing. So what I always encourage people to do is to read the guided meditation into their own phone and then play it back for themselves. And once you can start to like listen to your own voice and say, oh, I love this person loves me, and you continually hear that, you know, it's a process, right, Roy? Like this took me years to figure out that it wasn't my fault, and that, you know, like all of the things that anybody ever said to me, that was all their issues and their trauma. It doesn't have any effect on me anymore, but it did for a really long time.
I know that your book includes access to a free download, 9 Steps to Find Your Happiest Weight. And how does a reader obtain this download?
So if they go to my website, which is www.fatshame.com, there's a link on there where you provide your email address, and then I send you, it's a PDF of 9 Steps to Finding Your Happiest Weight.
Oh, that's great.
Because our happiest weight is not always our thinnest weight.
No.
My thinnest weight in my 40s is 115 pounds, but I'm not always happy at 115. I'm pretty happy around 120, 121.
Yeah, that's so
but
true.
It's
you
not
don't
my
have to
thinnest
become
weight.
twiggy, in other words, too. You know, these
when
models
you get
are
to be
always
40,
super thin, but they...
yeah. If there's a difference between being healthy and being gaunt, and, you know, gaunt, it is a look, and, you know, if it works for you, it works for you, but the truth is that wherever you feel like the happiest, that is the weight that you want to aim for.
Well, where's the best place for listeners to go to preview and purchase your book, Fat Shame?
Amazon.com, and then also Barnes & Noble.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe I have a link to Amazon directly from my website.
Okay, that's fatshame.com is your website. And,
yes.
Okay, well, to conclude, Nicole Black's book is not just a diet book, and it's not going to tell you about how to lose weight. You know, there are plenty of books and diet plans, Jenny Craig's Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, all those around to tell you how to do that. Her book is something far more important to tell you, and that's how to love yourself, even if someone has something hurtful to say about you. And here's the best part. Let's say you presently do weigh a little or a lot more than you'd like to, more than you should for optimum health, appearance, and energy. Once you learn to respect yourself for the wonderful, unique, one-of-a-kind individual that you are created to be, you will take optimal care of your body as your holy cathedral, and you no longer will fat shame yourself. You will begin a diet and exercise regimen that ultimately will create the person on the outside that corresponds to the self-confident, positive individual that you are on the inside, and the days of self-blame, lack of willpower, and yo-yo dieting will be over, and your whole life experience will change infinitely for the better. And if for any reason you're not at ease with your weight today, not comfortable in your own skin, I highly recommend you preview and purchase Nicole Black's outstanding book, Fat Shame, and best of success in turning within to find your happiest size, which may, in fact, as Nicole points out, may not be your smallest size. But by all means, don't continue to fat shame yourself or continue to fat shame yourself or to use extra pounds as an excuse for not living the joyful, fulfilling life you deserve and have the potential to lead. And thank you so much, Nicole Black, for the wonderful, heartfelt message you have given us today.
Roy, thank you so much for having me on your show. Middle age really can be your best age. It's funny, I never thought that I was old, but, you know, I look around at the younger people that work with me, and I think, oh, my gosh, I'm the old person now.
Everyone around keeps getting younger, don't they? Well,
they do, but it's all good.
But best of success in the sale of your book and all that you do. Bye for now.
Thanks, Roy. Bye-bye.
Well, we're going to turn to a subject that is quite popular this time of year, and that's selling real estate. You know, during your middle years, there are a whole host of reasons why you may want to sell your primary residence, a vacation cabin, a condo, perhaps a residential property you own, maybe a job transfer or a new job at a distant location, time to move up, buy a new home with more space and or amenities, downsizing, the kids are grown and have moved out, and your present house simply is too big for your spouse and you, or maybe you're tired of maintaining and visiting that same summer cabin, same location every single year. You'd like to take some different vacations. But here's the thing, you don't want to simply give away your present home, probably one of your largest investments, and you want to avoid the hassle of a long, drawn-out listing period. Well, here's some great news. My next guest, Marlena Urich, reveals that a $10 lamp placed in the right place could get you $20,000 more for your property. Using clever accessories and lighting tips, Marlena is here to tell us you can create an inviting feeling and showcase the roominess of any space, and she's here to offer suggestions on how you can showcase your own for-sale property. And here are Marlena Urich's qualifications. She's professionally staged homes in Sacramento, California area for the past 10 years. She's sought after by real estate agents, brokers, and real estate investors, and she's author of the definitive 2018 book, The Secret Sauce of Staging, Getting Your Home Ready to Command Top Dollar in the Real Estate Market. And hello, Marlena Urich, and welcome to Middle Age Can Be Your Best Age.
Hey, well, thank you, Roy. It's a pleasure to be on your radio show. I really appreciate that.
Well, sometimes maybe because of a job transfer, a home sits idle before it's actually sold. You tell us that this idle home, even with outstanding curb appeal, can lose the attraction of prospective buyers and eventually sell for a depreciated price. Why do you think that is? What's wrong with a vacant home?
You know, that's a really good question, and it can be a sensitive issue for some people because, you know, people love to make their home, which is special to them. And as a certified home stager, I like to educate my clients to let them know exactly like what the intent of home staging is. Yeah. So, for instance, we do have some wonderful statistics that show, these statistics are from the Real Estate Staging Association, that a home that is professionally staged will sell 73% faster than its unstaged counterparts. So that is just fantastic. And a lot of people don't know that, that, you know, they can have like the basic bones, and it just needs a professional touch. And you can not only sell your house faster, 73% faster, but you can also command more money for a home that is professionally staged. Yes. As a matter of fact, Coldwell Banker Real Estate Corporation discovered that staged homes are usually sold 6% above the asking price.
Oh, wow.
And
that's not bad.
Yeah, and of course they spend less time on the market too. Yeah. So it's just amazing. It's a wonderful investment. People will probably see an 8 to 10% return on their money. Sure. So. You know, I always like to work with real estate agents and real estate investors to encourage them to build professional staging into their budget.
Well, what in fact is home staging, and how is home staging different from home redesign or home upgrade?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, well, home staging is a process, and I really feel it's kind of almost a creative, artistic kind of process that will create a space that will appeal to the most number of potential buyers. So,
yeah, because everybody has their own idea of how furniture should be spaced, so you can't please everyone. I guess you're going for what will appeal to the most then.
Exactly. And so, like I said in the beginning, it can be kind of a sensitive issue because people, they love to make their home their palace, and rightly so.
And they don't get to keep the furniture that people own that lived there before, so they're going to bring their own stuff in anyway. But
yeah, and and sometimes, like when we do a redesign, that's the process of redesigning the existing furniture. We have to consider that we really want to have kind of an updated look on a redesign. So typically a redesign is about just giving it that extra wow factor, is what I call it. And that can be simply done in a lot of instances. But with the home staging, again, we not only do we want to appeal to the most number of potential buyers, there's several things that can be done. And you mentioned that in that example that you gave a little bit earlier about a home that has great curb appeal, and that can be awesome. But typically that isn't the whole story, because people want to walk into a home and have it move-in ready.
Yeah.
In other words, they don't want to have to paint walls. They don't want to have to do repairs or anything like that.
No, they want to have the option to do that, but they don't want to have to do it the day they move in or before they
Exactly.
move in. Yeah,
exactly. So I encourage my clients to keep the space as neutral as possible. Yeah. For instance, I had a client who had a beautiful home in a very nice area here close to Sacramento. And this home was on the market for almost $900,000, and it wasn't moving. And I talked to the real estate agent, and I said, well, why isn't this home moving? And they said, well, several of the rooms were painted bright colors. In one room, in the office, the walls were painted red. In another bedroom, the walls were painted orange. And, and another room, in the living room, actually, it was purple walls. Well, these are great colors, and people may be real passionate about those colors. They just don't appeal to the majority of people.
No, that's true.
So, excuse me. So in that case, I recommended that the owner paint the walls a neutral color. And in this case, the owner didn't want to do that. She was wanting to sell as soon as possible, and basically had to wind up lowering her price because people went, they didn't want to have to move in and start painting. Yeah. So, at any rate, people have to make those decisions that are important to them and a lot of times it involves timing and time, along with, money, extra money to do something like painting. But in the end, it's my opinion that those things will really make a big difference and can get your home sold sooner rather than later.
Well, I know you can't be specific without viewing a for-sale home, but can you describe in general some of the smart interior staging moves that more times than not will increase the perceived value of a home for sale? What are some good things to do?
Absolutely. That's another great question. And what I want to say is, probably the number one thing is to start decluttering.
And I knew you'd say that. We have 30 years
I know.
of
Nobody
in our
wants
house.
to hear that, right? I know, what? Oh, no. Yeah. But it really is true, because it's going to be first impressions, and people want to walk into a home and see themselves living in that home.
Yeah.
So I always recommend that people create a timeline when they're planning on moving or putting their house on the market, to create a timeline that will give you time to declutter. And in my book, The Secret Sauce of Staging, I recommend a process for decluttering.
Oh,
so that is outlined in the book, and ideally it can help people just go through, room by room, and make those decisions, and be able to, start this process of decluttering.
Yeah. I might buy your book just for that.
Exactly.
Don't plan on moving, but we sure need to declutter.
Yeah. And even in homes that I stage, I recommend that people kind of remove, like if they've got a lot of books, on a shelf, that we really get rid of as many as possible. Maybe have maybe anywhere from 10 to 20, and those would be placed in a certain way so they would look kind of artistic and would look inviting. But something like a whole wall of books for a lot of people is like they don't know what to do with that. They just see a big wall of books and they don't see how they can use that space to their advantage.
If they're a bunch of inexpensive paperbacks, that's not real impressive either.
Yeah. So I say that decluttering is probably the number one kind of ingredient for the secret sauce of staging.
And would that be the number one boo-boo on the other side that would keep people from being attracted to a house, obviously, I guess?
Absolutely. Because, as part of the decluttering, that would mean, clearing off your kitchen counter and clearing off your bathroom counter, because you want to have the impression of spaciousness and openness and, again, being able to appeal to people's idea of seeing themselves in that space.
Yeah, that's such a crucial point you're making. You have to think in the mind of the buyer, is this a space I'd like to be in? Is this my dream?
Exactly. And when they walk into a place and they say, well, I could paint the orange walls, or I could clear off all that stuff, or I could, and after a while it's like, no, I don't want to do that. People just want to have it done.
Even though they know that the clutter will be gone before they move in, it still sort of destroys the vision. Well, how do you respond to folks who inform that they plan to stage their home themselves? Do all sellers need to retain a professional home stager? And here's a question: how do you find one in your area?
Yeah, great. So, I think a lot of people, they, like I said, people feel special about their personal belongings, and they may not know exactly how to see it through fresh eyes.
That's a good point. You're used to having something organized a certain way, and you get very nearsighted in terms of how it might look for someone else.
Exactly. So if somebody is planning on staging for themselves, I would recommend going through magazines and looking at pictures of, kind of current homes, or to go to model homes. I love going to model homes and seeing how other people have staged, because I get ideas. So going to a model home or looking through a current magazine, with home furnishings and stuff, or even on the internet, you get ideas of the colors that are in, the accessories that are in, in terms of in trend right now, but you still want to have it so that the trend is not going to expire, in another couple of weeks or so.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your book, The Secret Sauce of Staging. Who will benefit most from your book? Is it written primarily for professional home stagers, or can a couple that's planning to sell their own real estate property also benefit? Yeah. Well,
I wrote this book with the idea that it would help anybody who's wanting to update their home and or get it ready for the real estate market.
Oh, I see.
So what I did with this book is that but each chapter has what I call a writing opportunity. And so I ask people to be thoughtful about, what kind of look do they want to create? What's working in the space that you're thinking of staging or redesigning? What would be the purpose of that space? So it really is a thoughtful process. And, you want to be able to develop areas in a room or in a house that are warm and welcoming and inviting, And you want to have the people feel those qualities about the space. You want to feel that about it. You want to have a great end result. So the book primarily was written for people who are interested in getting their home ready for the real estate market. And it was my intention.
In your book's intro, you inform readers that the book is designed to have everything in one place to be your guide and to make life easier. Give us a couple names of the chapters. They're really fascinating how you go into different aspects of selling the house and staging it. Like chapter 5 was getting ready to get ready, the thing nobody talks about.
I know. It is kind of an emotional process, you know? Yeah. Especially for people who've lived in a home for a long time. If your kids, you and your kids have grown up there or whatever, it is an emotional process. And so there is this whole thing about getting ready to get ready, you know.
I like chapter 11, the 5 last-minute things to do before every showing. Give us one of those.
Okay, sure. This is like a fun thing. And in my book, I invite people to if they've got kids, they'll let the kids help with this too. So
they may be mad that you're moving away from all their friends. They may not want to cooperate.
Yeah, no kidding. So the 5 last-minute things that you can do before every showing. Number 1 is step outside your home and do a quick visual check-in. You know, are there newspapers on the porch or flyers, or what does the lawn look like? Is the porch swept? Are there cobwebs on the windowsills? So all of that, and sometimes we don't see those things because we're just kind of used to having it a certain way, right? So what I have found to be really helpful is if people will take pictures first and then look at that and say, oh, gee, I didn't realize that all those cobwebs are there on the windowsill. So that way it kind of also makes it a little more objective. So doing that outside, check of the surroundings as a visual check-in is really a great number 1 step because, again, we're back to first impressions. And so the other thing that I mentioned is to really freshen the air inside the house. So, for instance, if you're cooking fish or broccoli the night before an open house, guess what? Your house may smell like fish and broccoli. So, and it's not like you want to use strong sprays or anything like that, but there's a lot of nice aromatherapies and environmentally safe cleaning products that are great. So just to just open up the windows and let the fresh air, come on in.
Well, where's the best place for listeners to go to preview and purchase your book? Where's a good place to do that?
Oh, yeah, on Amazon, The Secret Sauce of Staging.
Yeah, I found it there.
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Now, you have a special offer that you were gonna mention. What's that offer?
I do. I wanted to offer for your audience. I wanted to offer a special deal because I love helping to support people if they want, especially if they're looking at staging or they have questions to ask about staging. So I would like your audience to know that they can text STAGE STAGE to the following number: 916-507-0544. I'll repeat that again. So text STAGE, STAGE, to area code 916-507-0544, and I am offering a complimentary staging phone consultation.
Oh, that's great.
This offer will expire on June 30th, and I just wanted to be able to have people reach out and say, hey, what do I do with this kind of situation? And, I can walk them through some alternatives. So I know you wanted to, so I would love to be able to offer that. And we were talking about the 5 last-minute things to do besides making sure that inside of the room, house smells good. There's speed cleaning, and I give examples of that in my book. Take out the trash. I mean, trash in every room. And the number 5 is, if you have time, is to vacuum the carpet. So that's
not a bad idea.
Yeah, especially in the front. The front of the house. In the living room. People like that kind of fresh look. So that's a quick overview of those 5 things that people can do just minutes before a home staging or an open house. And again, having everybody on board with an assignment, like kids, you empty the trash and everybody has something to do, you can get it done, lickety split.
Do you have a website address where people can go to learn more about you and your services and your book?
I do. Thank you for asking. My website is amazing-staging.com.
Yeah, that's pretty easy to remember.
Yeah. So
don't forget that little dash between amazing and staging.
Exactly, and I wanted to make that real distinctive. So amazing-staging.com, and you'll be able to see a lot of before and after pictures of places that I've staged and the transformation that has occurred, and you'll have a chance to see excerpts from my book, some videos. There's a lot of information there.
Well, that's great. Well, in conclusion, the need to sell a home is not always voluntary. You may presently reside in Atlanta, and your employer has just relocated to Minneapolis. But the sale may be forced, but why not take control of the preparation for sale and the presentation of your home? And as my guest today, Marlena Eric, assures, a small investment in home staging can pay off many times over in the price you receive for your home. Sell your home faster and make more money. Not a bad formula. And whether or not you whether or not you choose to retain a home staging pro, I highly recommend you preview and purchase Marlena's definitive and all-encompassing book, The Secret Sauce of Staging. And it's the kind of guidebook that no home seller should be without. And thank you so much, Marlena Eric, for joining us. Best of success in your efforts to educate home sellers. And don't forget that offer. Check in with Marlena.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Roy. It's been a pleasure.
And that's our show for today. Be sure to join us next week when we continue our quest to make middle age your best age. Bye for now.
You've been listening to Middle Age Can Be Your Best Age, hosted by Roy Richards, an expert on midlife renewal and author of both A Midlife Challenge, Wake Up, and Wake Up, Captain and Crew, Restart Your Engines. You can learn more about Roy and his Middle Age Renewal Training System by visiting his website, middleagerenewal.com.